The noise of the world doesn't just come from the sounds you hear, it comes from judgments, prejudices, and streams of conflicting opinions seeping into your mind. They wear the clothing of advice or concern, but at their core, they are streams of energy that lead you astray, making you forget the true voice within. A mind covered by noise is no different from a lake full of waves, unable to reflect the light, unable to reveal the depths below. From the moment you were born, those voices surrounded you. This is possible, that is impossible. This is the safe choice, that is a useless risk. But they cannot see the dream sleeping in your heart, nor can they touch the seed of an idea planted before you ever doubted yourself. If you keep listening, you will forget your direction, and even forget the reason you began. The consensus of the crowd can give you a sense of safety, but that safety is like a fence enclosing a patch of grass, protecting you from danger while also keeping you from ever leaving familiar ground. The crowd builds fences, but they never build kingdoms. They glorify obedience and mock those who dare to be different. And if your mind becomes synchronized with theirs, your life will drift in a flat, ordinary rhythm. Keeping your mind clear means carefully choosing what you allow yourself to hear, read, and think. A guardian of treasure would not open the gates to just anyone. Likewise, you must guard the door of your mind as if inside it were a priceless gem. Every stream of thought you allow in plants a seed. If it is doubt and fear, you will harvest procrastination and disappointment. If it is faith and vision, you will harvest strength and achievement. If it is faith and vision, you will harvest strength and achievement. To clear the noise, you must first recognize it. Noise is not only the bustle on the streets or the endless scroll of news on a screen. It is also found in meaningless conversations, in advice that does not come from understanding, and in the habit of comparing yourself to others. These noises dull the sharpness of your thinking, making you doubt your own intuition. Some will ask, does this mean you have to shut yourself off from everything outside? No, you don't have to live in isolation, but you must filter. Just as a jeweler selects only the right stones to craft, you must choose influences worthy of nurturing your beliefs. Read things that lift you up. Talk to people who spark courage. Listen to voices that bring you closer to what you desire. Clearing the noise is not an impulsive act but a discipline of the mind. Each day, set aside time to inspect your mental space. Ask yourself, is this thought bringing me closer to or further from my goal? If it takes you further, remove it. If it brings you closer, nurture it. The mind is fertile soil. Whatever seed is cared for will grow, whether it's the seed of faith or the seed of fear. Remember, mental clarity is not emptiness, it is focus. When the lake is still, it is not only peaceful but also able to reflect the sky. When your mind is calm and clear, it will reflect a sharp image of your goal and vision, enabling you to act with certainty instead of fumbling in guesswork. A clear mind will give you a power that no outside noise can grant. It helps you make decisions quickly yet accurately, speak few words that carry great weight, and act with certainty without seeking others' approval. Then, you will realize you are no longer someone swept away by waves of opinion, but someone who creates new waves. From today, treat the quiet within your mind as a sacred sanctuary no one may trespass. Choose what enters and firmly reject what clouds your vision. Let the true voice within be heard, the voice of faith, of clarity, and of a clear purpose. The light within me is stronger than any echo outside. I keep my mind clear, and everything I aim for will find its way to me. No one is sent to save you, not a family member, not a friend, not a hand of fate that will suddenly appear and place you exactly where you want to be. Every door that opens begins with a push, and that push must come from your own hand. Waiting is a form of procrastination wrapped in comforting words. It makes you believe that the perfect moment will arrive, that the golden opportunity will knock, or that someone will see your value and give you the position you deserve. But while you wait, time keeps moving, and those who aren't waiting are walking, step by step, toward their goals. Every time you place your hope in someone or something to change your life, you unconsciously give away your power. You let your destiny depend on the will and choices of others, and once given away, power is hard to reclaim. Unless you decide firmly, from now on, I am the only one responsible for my own advancement. True strength doesn't come from temporary helping hands. It comes from the realization that you already have everything you need to begin. No one can think for you, feel for you, or act for you. Willpower, faith, and choice are the three assets that only you have the right to use. People often mistakenly believe that hard work alone is enough. But working hard without direction is like rowing a boat without a compass, exhausting yet only going in circles. You must combine effort with the clarity of a defined goal. That is when every drop of sweat you shed becomes a building block, instead of just steam that evaporates. There is a dangerous weakness hidden in relying on help. It wears the mask of optimism but is actually mental laziness, believing that someone will show up to carry you to the finish line. But no one can carry your own ambition for you. No one can walk the path you were meant to take. Instead of asking, "Who will help me?" ask, "Who must I become to get this done?" That question transforms you from a waiter into a creator. It forces you to act as if there is no one else out there, and that very action draws the necessary resources to you. The world does not favor victims, it only collaborates with creators. History is not short of examples of those who stood up on their own. Abraham Lincoln failed in business, lost multiple elections, endured loss and ridicule, but he did not sit waiting for a savior. He walked forward with the determination to carve his name into history. His power did not lie in winning instantly, but in refusing to hand his future to anyone but himself. Whenever you feel like quitting, remember, as long as you breathe, you build. There is no mystical milestone to begin. The moment you decide is the moment the miracle is activated. A decisive choice, born from faith, is more powerful than 1,000 words of encouragement from the outside. Stop expecting recognition before you start. Don't let others' silence make you doubt your ability. Your value does not lie in how many people see it, but in the strength you show when no one is watching. When you stop waiting, you unlock a new source of energy. It's called initiative. Initiative makes you the one who starts, not the one who follows. Initiative keeps you focused on what you can do today instead of dreaming about what others might do for you tomorrow. And remember, you don't need to see the entire path to start. You just need to take the first step with absolute trust that the next steps will reveal themselves as you move forward. That's how every dream is built, not through miraculous leaps, but through a series of steady actions. From today, affirm to yourself, I don't beg, I don't wait, I don't plead. I decide, I build, I finish. The power is in my hands, and I will use it now, not later. I am my own salvation. I don't wait for a miracle. I am the miracle. No door is truly locked to the one who carries the key of faith. Every limitation, every wall you believe is blocking your way, for the most part, exists only in the mind. And the mind, when lit by faith, will find a passage even where all you can see is a barrier. Faith is not a fleeting emotion, nor is it vague optimism. It is a life force, a subtle current of energy that fuses thought, emotion, and action into a command sent out to the universe. When faith is strong enough, every circumstance, person, and opportunity will arrange themselves in service of your goal. You were not born with doubt, you were taught to doubt. The so-called practical lessons passed down by others, the reminders to be cautious, to not dream too big, all are layers of dust covering the mind's original creative power. And if doubt is allowed to reign too long, it will erode your will, turning you into someone who merely observes instead of creates. Faith is the decision to not give doubt the right to have the final word. Those with faith do not deny the existence of difficulties. They simply refuse to let difficulties decide the outcome. They act as if the result is already assured, and it is precisely that consistency which makes what once seemed impossible become inevitable. Not every moment will be filled with faith. Even the greatest have wavered. The difference is they train their minds so that when doubt knocks, the voice of faith still speaks louder. And they do this with a simple yet powerful tool: repetition. Every thought, when repeated with strong emotion, is etched into the subconscious like words carved into stone. The subconscious does not argue or judge. It simply accepts and turns what is repeated into a command for action. That is why, when you consistently affirm that you are capable, worthy, and determined, the subconscious will marshal every inner and outer resource to make it real. Think of your goal as a seed. Faith is the sunlight and water that nourish it. You may plant a seed in fertile soil, but without faith it will never grow roots deep enough to withstand storms. Solid faith not only helps the seed sprout, but also helps it rise high, overcoming obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Thomas Edison is living proof. More than 10,000 failed attempts did not stop him, because in his mind, electric light already existed. He did not experiment to see if it could work. He experimented to find the way that would work. The difference lies here. He acted from a belief in completion, not from a fragile hope. To turn your faith into creative power, give it form and habit. Write down your goal clearly, in detail, and set a deadline. Read it aloud at least twice a day, in the morning when you begin and at night before you sleep. As you read, visualize yourself having already achieved it, feeling the joy, confidence, and gratitude as if it were already true. Speak affirmations until your body and voice carry an unshakable certainty. At first, this may feel forced, but stay consistent. Day after day, you are training your mind to respond with faith instead of doubt. At some point, your actions, decisions, and opportunities will naturally align with the direction you have affirmed. The truth is, the world does not need to believe in you for you to succeed. Only one person needs to believe, and that person is you. When your faith is strong enough, others will feel that energy and adjust their attitude toward you. Do not expect faith to arrive on its own. Build it like building a bridge. Each stone is an affirmation. Each span is a consistent action. And when the bridge is complete, it will carry you across every chasm of fear and doubt. Remember, faith does not wait for inspiration to act. Faith is acting even when inspiration has not yet arrived. Every time you take a step forward in the dark, you send a message to your subconscious. We are still moving forward, and the darkness will gradually give way to light. My faith is stronger than any doubt. Each day I plant thoughts of belief, and the world responds with doors wide open. True wisdom never fights for the right to speak. It doesn't shout. It doesn't wave frantically for your attention amidst chaos. It is like an underground stream, always present, but only those who know how to pause and listen can feel it. The world around you is endlessly noisy. The pings from your phone, hurried conversations, the constant rush of news, all of it like waves pounding against the shore of your awareness, keeping the lake of your mind from ever being still. And when that lake is stirred, the reflections within it become distorted and cloudy. You can no longer see your goals clearly, nor hear your true inner guidance. Stillness is not the absence of external sound. It is the intentional creation of space in your mind, so that your inner voice has the chance to speak. It is where infinite wisdom, the source of right ideas and clarity, sends you its clearest instructions. Those who fail often do not lack ability. They lack the ability to hear themselves. They are busy absorbing every opinion, every piece of gossip, until they can no longer tell which desires are their own and which are the expectations of others. When the mind is crammed full of noise, personal will is pushed aside, and you begin drifting with the crowd without even realizing it. To hear the voice of wisdom, you must practice a discipline, intentional stillness. Each day, set aside a fixed time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or more, simply to sit in silence, removing all distractions. No phone, no conversation, no scrolling through countless fragments of information. Just you, your breath, and the clear goal you are moving toward. In that moment, read your written goal again, close your eyes, and visualize it as if it were already real. Feel the certainty, the joy, the gratitude filling you completely. Then, be silent, so that infinite wisdom can send you hints, what your next step is, what you need to adjust, or which resources are waiting for you to claim. At first you may feel restless. A mind used to constant activity will keep seeking something to fill the space. But if you persist, you will realize that stillness is not empty, it is full of answers you have never thought of before. Stillness does not make you weak or isolated. On the contrary, it is a fortress that protects you from the intrusion of negative influences. Within that space, you decide what is allowed in and what is kept out. You filter thoughts the way a gatekeeper chooses which guests may enter. All great builders understand this value. Carnegie spent time each day thinking in silence. Ford envisioned cars on every road while the world still doubted. Lincoln, in the midst of a nation's division, found the calm to make decisions that changed history. Stillness is the tool that allows you to draw energy from within, rather than be drained by the outside. Once you've built this habit, you will no longer panic in the face of the world's chaos. No matter how noisy it is outside, you will remain steady within. And from that steadiness, every action becomes sharper and more powerful. Remember, wisdom doesn't speak much, but every word it utters is an arrow that hits the mark. Don't expect it to reach you in the middle of noise. Instead, create the space for it to find you. Simple exercise. Every morning, before the world has a chance to touch you, give yourself at least 5 minutes of stillness. Sit upright, breathe deeply, read your affirmation about your goal, then listen in silence. Write down any idea, feeling, or urge that comes up. Repeat this for 30 days, and you will notice the inner voice growing clearer and stronger. In stillness, I connect with infinite wisdom. I hear my guidance clearly and walk forward with certainty. You are not broken, not inadequate, not late to life. You are simply covered by too many layers of prejudice, failure, and judgment that have made you forget your original form. And your task is not to search for a new version of yourself out there, but to peel away each layer of dust, to return to the original truth, the person you were created to become. The world has tried many times to fix you in place with labels: not good enough, not fast enough, not strong enough. The failures, the rejections, the sarcastic remarks, all like hands trying to pull you smaller. But that is only their story, not yours. No one but you has the right to define your worth, unless you hand it over to them. Recreation begins with reclaiming ownership of your identity. You are the designer, not a random product of circumstance. You are the scriptwriter, not a supporting actor in someone else's story. And to do this, you need 3 tools: a clear vision, steadfast affirmations, and disciplined action. Vision is the blueprint. It cannot be vague, because the subconscious works accurately only when it receives specific instructions. You must see clearly who you want to become, how you want to live, and what you want to achieve. Describe it in such detail that you can picture yourself living in that reality. Affirmations are the hammer, knocking repeatedly on the door of the subconscious. Every sentence you speak with conviction is a command. When repeated with emotion, it carves itself deep as the operating law of the mind. And the mind, like a dedicated worker, will find every way to turn that command into reality. Disciplined action is the cement that connects vision to reality. Without action, every idea remains a painting on the wall. But each consistent step, however small, is a brick in building the new identity. And when you have walked long enough in the set direction, living as the new person will no longer be an effort, but will become a natural reflex. Remember, this process is not an instant transformation. It is training, repetition, until the subconscious believes that this is your original blueprint. Once that belief is locked in, all your behaviors, habits, and reactions will automatically align with the new identity. Look at the story of F.W. Woolworth, a man once mocked for his idea of fixed-price sales. He did not borrow belief from the crowd, because the crowd did not believe. He created belief within himself, lived with it, and let his actions gradually turn ridicule into recognition. The world had to acknowledge him, not because he convinced them with words, but because he persistently lived true to the image he had decided on. The important thing is you are not starting from zero. You are returning to what was already yours. Each day, as you act according to the new vision, you remove another false layer, revealing the true strength and qualities within. And on this journey, you do not need anyone's permission. No one has the right to give or take away your right to recreate yourself. That right has belonged to you since the day you were born. Let every word you speak, every action you take, every thought you nurture become a brick in the new structure. Do not answer the voices pulling you back to the old version. Do not engage in conversations that deny your dream. Instead, let your life be the proof, silent yet powerful, that you have chosen and you have built. And when change becomes natural, you will realize you no longer need to prove anything to anyone, because your presence itself is the evidence. I rebuild myself in the highest image of who I am. Each day, I move closer to the truth I was born to live. A new identity cannot stand firm if it is built only on excitement. Excitement is the spark, but to keep the fire burning, you need a steady source of fuel, and that fuel is habit. Habits are like invisible threads, weaving an extra layer each day until they become the garment you wear without even thinking about it. Habits hold a sacred power because they operate beneath consciousness. Once established, they don't ask for your permission each morning. They simply guide you quietly to act in the direction already set. This means that if you know how to install habits that align with your new identity, you will live it naturally without straining to maintain an image. To fix a new identity, you must choose a few key actions, pillars, that represent the person you are becoming, and turn them into non-negotiable habits. If your new identity is a confident leader, let every morning begin with 10 minutes of planning and affirming your vision. If your new identity is someone strong and disciplined, make sure each day contains a fixed time block for physical and mental training. The critical factor is repetition. An action repeated in the same context sends a powerful signal to the subconscious. This is who I am. When the signal is clear enough, the subconscious adopts it as a standard and adjusts all your thoughts, emotions, and decisions to protect that standard. This is the very principle Napoleon Hill called the cosmic habit force, the power of habit to shape destiny. Remember, habits are not always easy to form. In the beginning, you may feel resistance, fatigue, or the urge to skip, but each time you hold the line, you carve a deeper groove into the record of your subconscious. At a certain point, the habit will no longer require willpower to sustain because it has become part of your identity. One effective way to strengthen a habit is to tie it to a symbol. For example, if you want the habit of morning journaling to become an unshakable ritual, choose a pen or notebook that you use only for that purpose. This object becomes the start signal for your subconscious, helping you slip instantly into the right mental state. Additionally, use affirmations as a form of anchoring. Each time you perform the habit, repeat an affirmation tied to the identity you are reinforcing. For example, I am a person who acts with discipline and lives true to my vision. When habit and affirmation are performed together, the effect doubles. You are both acting and reprogramming your mind at the same time. Do not forget the element of habit protection. The world will always have noise, false urgencies, and people who unintentionally pull you away from your established rhythm. You must guard the sacred time for your habit the way a monk guards his meditation hour. If you must say no, then say no. If you must rearrange, then rearrange, but never lose continuity. Sacred habits, once protected long enough, will become the unshakable foundation of your identity. At that point, even when facing challenges, you will still act in alignment with your new self, not because you are trying to appear strong, but because you are strong. Let your new identity be something you no longer remember to act on, but something you naturally act on. That is when change has taken root at the deepest level, and those roots, once anchored, will nourish you for a lifetime. I fix my new identity with sacred habits. Each day, I live true to the person I have chosen to become,